The lights in the medical bay flickered as another baby's cry filled the air. Haijin held her newborn son close to her chest, tears streaming down her face. The baby had dark hair and tiny fingers that gripped her thumb with surprising strength. To her, he was perfect. "Let me see him," said Dr. Ba'ura, stepping forward with her medical scanner. Her white coat was spotless, and her face showed no emotion. She had done this many times before. Dongwu, the baby's father, stood behind his wife. His hands shook as he watched the doctor wave the scanner over their child. The machine made soft beeping sounds. With each beep, Dr. Biora's frown grew deeper. "The readings are unusual," she said, looking at the screen. "His brain patterns are not normal. His DNA shows markers we have never seen before." Haijin pulled her baby closer. "What does that mean? Is he sick?" Dr. Biora turned the scanner toward Commander Jae-sung, who had been watching from the corner. The tall man walked over and looked at the results. His face went pale. "These readings ... Commander Jae-sung whispered. "They match the forbiddens." Patterns. The room became very quiet. Even the baby stopped crying, as if he could sense something was wrong. Dr. Beora nodded slowly. "According to Colony Protocol 7, any child showing these genetic markers must be classified as ... defective." "No!" Haijin screamed. "He's not defective, he's my baby!" But Commander Jae-sung had already pressed a button on his wrist device. Security to Medical Bay 3, code yellow. 2 guards entered the room. They wore blue uniforms and carried energy weapons. Their faces were hidden behind dark helmets. "Please," Dongwu begged. "There must be another way. He's just a baby." Commander Jae-sung looked sad, but his voice was firm. "The colony ship New Eden has rules? We cannot risk the safety of 10,000 colonists for one child. These genetic patterns have appeared before. They always lead to problems." Dr. Biora held up a tablet showing old medical records. "In the past 50 years, we have found 12 children with similar patterns. They all showed signs of ... strangeness. Some could not speak properly. Others acted violent. One even claimed to hear voices from space. Where are they now?" Haijin asked, though she feared the answer. "They were given to the dragon," Commander Jae-sung said quietly. "It was a mercy." The dragon. Everyone on the ship knew about the dragon. It was a massive creature that lived in the caves below on planet Drakmor. For over 100 years, the colonists had followed the same ritual. Any child born with defective genes was placed in a special pod and sent down to the planet's surface. The dragon always took them. No child had ever returned. "Please," Haijin whispered. "He's so small, so innocent." Commander Jae-sung turned away. "Sergeant Min Seok, prepare the casting pod." One of the guards saluted. "Yes, sir. Bay 7 is ready." The baby began to cry again, as if he understood what was happening. Haijin held him tighter, but the second guard stepped forward. "Ma'am, please hand over the child." "Never!" Haijin shouted. But Dongwu gently touched her arm. "We have to," he said, his voice breaking. "If we don't, they will take him anyway. And they might punish us too." Haijin looked around the room. Dr. Biora avoided her eyes. Commander Jae-sung stared at the floor. The guards waited patiently. There was nowhere to run on a spaceship. With shaking hands, she kissed her baby's forehead. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." The guard took the baby carefully. He was gentle, which somehow made it worse. The child looked up at the strange faces around him with bright, curious eyes. "His name," Haijin said suddenly. "His name is Taeho. Please remember his name." Commander Jae-sung nodded. "Taeho, we will remember." The guards carried the baby out of the medical bay. Haijin collapsed into her husband's arms, sobbing. Dr. Biora quietly put away her scanner. In Bay 7, the casting pod waited. It was a small, silver egg-shaped container with soft padding inside. The guards placed baby Taeho inside. The child did not cry. He seemed to be looking at something beyond the walls of the ship. "Pod is sealed," Sergeant Min Seok reported. "All systems green." Commander Jae-sung arrived with a small crowd of colonists. This was always a public event. The people needed to see that the rules were followed. They needed to understand that hard choices kept them all safe. Citizens of New Eden, Commander Jae-sung announced, we gather today to honor the ancient pact. The Dragon of Drakmor has protected our ship for over a century. In return, we offer what we cannot keep. An old woman in the crowd shook her head. It's not right, she muttered. That baby looked normal to me. Normal is not enough, said a younger man. We need perfect, we need strong. We cannot have weakness in our genes. Through the bay's large window, they could see the planet Drakmor below. It was covered in purple clouds and strange lights. The surface was hidden, but everyone knew the dragon was down there, waiting. Launch the pod, Commander Jae-sung ordered. The pod shot out of the ship like a silver star. It fell toward the planet, growing smaller and smaller until it disappeared into the purple clouds. The crowd slowly left the bay. Some people looked sad. Others seemed relieved. Dr. Biora made notes on her tablet. Commander Jae-sung stood alone at the window, watching the planet where another child had been sent to die. Back in their quarters, Haijin and Dongwoo held each other and cried. They did not know that far below, in the crystal caves of Drakmor, something ancient and wise was watching the falling pod with great interest. The dragon had been waiting for this child for a very long time. 15 years had passed since baby Taeho fell from the sky. The crystal caves of Drakmor sparkled with strange blue light. Deep inside the largest cave, a young man sat by a glowing pool, fixing a broken machine with his bare hands. Taeho was now tall and strong. His dark hair fell over his eyes as he worked. Strange blue lines glowed under his skin, pulsing like a heartbeat. The colonists above would have called him a monster. Down here he was simply home. You're doing it again, said a voice behind him. Taeho turned to see Minho walking toward him. Minho was 3 years older, with quick eyes and scars on his arms. He had been cast to the dragon when he was 5 years old. His crime? Moving. Too fast for normal human reflexes. Doing what? Taeho asked, not looking up from his work. Talking to machines like they're people, Minho said with a grin. You know they can't actually hear you, right? Taeho smiled back. This one can. It's lonely. Minho shook his head. After 15 years, he still didn't understand Taeho's strange abilities, but he had learned to trust them. So Young wants to see you, Minho said. She says the dragon is calling us. Taeho nodded and stood up. The machine he had been fixing suddenly hummed to life, its lights blinking in what looked like a grateful pattern. They walked deeper into the caves, past walls covered in glowing crystals. The air was warm and smelled like metal and flowers. Other young people moved through the passages, all of them cast-offs from the colony ship above. They found So Young in the heart chamber, a huge room with a ceiling that disappeared into darkness. She was sitting in the center, her eyes closed. Her long hair floated around her head as if she were underwater. I can hear their dreams, she whispered without opening her eyes. The people above, they're having nightmares about us. So Young had been cast to the dragon when she was 7. Her parents noticed she could hear their thoughts. A colony doctor said it was impossible. When she proved them wrong, they called her dangerous. What kind of nightmares? Taeho asked. They dream we're coming back, So Young said. They dream we're angry. Maybe we should be angry, said a new voice. Woo Jin stepped out of the shadows. He was the oldest of the group, almost 30 now. His eyes were completely white, but he could see things that others couldn't, things that hadn't happened yet, things that might never happen. The dragon taught us to forgive, Taeho said. Anger makes us weak. Does it? Woo Jin asked. Or does it make us strong enough to protect others? Before anyone could answer, the cave began to shake. The crystals on the walls pulsed brighter. A deep voice filled the chamber, coming from everywhere and nowhere. My children, the voice said, come to me. The 4 young people walked to the back of the chamber. A massive shape moved in the darkness, scales that caught the light, eyes like burning stars, and a presence that felt older than the planet itself. But Valdris was not just a dragon. The great beast's form shifted and changed, sometimes looking like a giant reptile, sometimes like a being made of pure energy. Today, Valdris appeared as a mix of both, dragon-shaped but glowing with inner light. "Teho," Valdris said, lowering his great head. "Show me what you have learned." Teho walked forward and placed his hand on the dragon's snout. Immediately, his mind filled with images, star maps, alien worlds, and creatures he had never seen before. But he also saw something else. Ships, lots of ships, coming toward their system. "The hegemony," Teho whispered. "Yes," Valdris said, "they come sooner than I hoped. But perhaps, perhaps it is time." "Time for what?" Minho asked. The dragon's form shifted, becoming more human-like but still huge. "Time for you to understand the truth. You were not cast down because you were broken. You were cast down because you were perfect." So Young gasped. "What do you mean?" "The colony ship above follows rules given to them by the hegemony," Valdris explained. "Rules designed to make humanity weak. Every child with special abilities is removed. Every sign of evolution is crushed. They call it genetic purity, but it is actually genetic slavery." Wu Jin nodded slowly. "I have seen this in my visions. The hegemony fears humans who can grow beyond their limits. That's why they made sure only the normal ones survived." Valdris continued. "Humans who cannot read minds, cannot move faster than physics allows, cannot speak to machines, cannot see the future. Humans who are easy to control." Teho felt anger building in his chest. "So they made our parents throw us away." "Not throw away," Valdris said gently. "Give to me. I have been collecting your kind for over a century. Every defective child, every broken baby, they all came to me. And I raised them, taught them, helped them become what they were meant to be." "How many of us are there?" So Young asked. "In these caves? 47, across the galaxy?" "Millions, if they survived. The hegemony has been doing this to every species they encounter. They remove the strong, keep the weak, and then pretend to be protectors." Minho clenched his fists. "And now they're coming here?" "Yes," Valdris said. "At this time, they will find something they do not expect. A species that has rediscovered its lost children. A species ready to fight back." The dragon's eyes glowed brighter. "Teho, you are the key. Your abilities allow you to connect with any technology, any living system. You can wake up the sleeping power in the colony ship above." "But they cast me out," Teho said. "Why should I help them?" "Because," Valdris said softly, "among them are parents who cried when they lost their children. Parents who had no choice. Parents who were lied to, just like you were." Teho thought of his mother Haijin and his father Dongwu. He had watched them through the dragon's eyes over the years. They still mourned him. They still loved him. "What do you want us to do?" he asked. "Go home," Valdris said. "All of you. Show them what their defective children became. Show them that their weakness was actually their strength. And when the hegemony arrives, show them that humanity is not as helpless as they believe." So Young smiled for the first time in days, a family reunion. "With surprises?" Minho added, grinning. Wu Jin's white eyes seemed to sparkle. "I can see it now, the look on their faces when we return. It will be ... interesting." Teho looked at his friends, then at the dragon who had raised them all. "Are we ready?" "You have been ready for 15 years, Valdris said. "You just didn't know it yet." The great dragon began to glow brighter, and the cave filled with the sound of ancient machinery coming to life. Ships made of living crystal emerged from hidden chambers. It was time for the cast-out children to go home. Time to save the people who had tried to kill them. Chief Engineer Nariu wiped sweat from her forehead as she stared at the massive screen in the control room. Red lights blinked everywhere, warning sounds filled the air. What she saw on the screen made her blood run cold. "Commander Jae-sung?" "You need to see this," she called out. Commander Jae-sung ran over, his boots echoing on the metal floor. He was older now, with gray hair and tired eyes. 15 years of commanding the colony ship had worn him down. What is it, Nari? He asked. Nari pointed at the screen. Ships, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They're coming straight for us. The display showed a massive fleet of dark vessels moving through space like a swarm of angry insects. They were huge, each one bigger than the colony ship New Eden. Their black hulls seemed to absorb light, making them look like holes in space itself. How long until they reach us? Commander Jae-sung asked. 2 days, Nari said. Maybe less? Commander Jae-sung felt his heart sink. Signal the colony, emergency meeting, all department heads. 1 hour later, the main assembly hall was packed. 10,000 colonists sat in their seats. Whispering nervously, Dr. Bilra sat in the front row, looking at her medical tablet. She had been studying something for weeks, and her face showed worry. Commander Jae-sung stood at the podium. Citizens of New Eden, he began, we face a crisis. A large fleet of unknown ships approaches our system. We must prepare for the worst. A man in the crowd shouted, Who are they? What do they want? We don't know, Commander Jae-sung admitted. But their intentions appear hostile. Dr. Bio-ra stood up. Commander, I need to speak. It's about the genetic protocols. Commander. Jae-sung nodded. Dr. Bio-ra has something important to share. Dr. Bio-ra walked to the podium, her hands shaking. For the past month, I have been reviewing our medical records. I found something disturbing. She pressed a button, and the large screen showed charts and graphs. Our genetic purity protocols, the rules we use to identify defective children. They didn't come from Earth. They came from somewhere else. The crowd murmured. Someone called out, What do you mean? The protocols were uploaded to our ship's computers during our journey here, Dr. Bio-ra explained. They replaced our original medical guidelines. I found the old files hidden deep in the system. She showed another chart. According to Earth's original standards, none of the children we cast to the dragon were defective. They were ... advanced. The crowd erupted in angry voices. Parents who had lost children stood up, shouting questions. Commander Jae-sung raised his hand for silence. Dr. Bio-ra, he said, are you saying we've been following false protocols? Yes, she said, tears in her eyes. The children we threw away, they were our best. Our strongest, our most gifted. In the back of the hall, Haijin and Dongwoo held each other tightly. They thought of their son Taeho, cast to the dragon 15 years ago. Why would someone want us to remove our best children? Asked Nari. Dr. Bio-ra looked at the approaching fleet on the screen. Maybe to make us weak. Maybe to make us easy to defeat. Commander Jae-sung felt sick. How many children did we cast away? In the past century? Dr. Bio-ra checked her tablet. 237. The number hit the crowd like a physical blow. Hundreds of families had lost their children. Hundreds of gifted individuals had been thrown to what they thought was certain death. We need to defend ourselves, Commander Jae-sung said. Nari, what are our weapons? Nari looked embarrassed. We have basic shields and some old laser cannons. Nothing compared to what's coming. Our fighters? 12 small ships? All of them need repairs. Commander Jae-sung realized the truth. Over the years, they had removed anyone with natural piloting skills, anyone with enhanced reflexes, anyone who could have been a great warrior. They had created a colony of ordinary people facing an extraordinary threat. Sir, called out a young technician, we're receiving a signal from the planet below. Everyone turned to look at the screen. It showed the purple clouds of Drakmor, the world where the dragon lived. Put it through, Commander Jae-sung ordered. The screen flickered, and suddenly they could see into the crystal caves. A figure stepped forward, a young man with dark hair and glowing blue lines under his skin. Hello, New Eden, the young man said. My name is Taeho. Haijin gasped. She recognized the face, older now, but still her son. I know you threw me away when I was a baby, Taeho continued. You thought I was broken. You thought I was dangerous. The crowd was completely silent. But I'm not dead, Taeho said. None of us are. The dragon didn't kill us. He saved us. He raised us. He taught us. Other figures appeared on the screen, young men and women with strange abilities and confident faces. The ships coming toward you belong to the hegemony, Tejo explained. They're the ones who gave you the false protocols. They wanted you to throw away your strongest children so you would be helpless when they arrived. Commander Jae-sung stepped forward. Are you saying this was all planned? Yes, Tejo said. The hegemony has done this to thousands of worlds. They make species weak, then they conquer them. They've been playing this game for centuries. What do they want? Someone shouted. Everything, Tejo said. Your ship, your people, your planet. They want to make humanity into slaves. Doctor. Biora spoke up. If this is true, how do we fight them? Tejo smiled. You don't, we do. The screen showed more of the cast-out children. They stood in front of amazing ships made of living crystal. Their eyes glowed with power and purpose. You threw us away because you thought we were weak, Tejo said. But we're not weak. We're what humanity was meant to become. We're your children and we're coming home. But why would you help us? Asked Haijin, her voice breaking. We abandoned you. Tejo looked directly at her through the screen. Because you're still our parents? You're still our people? And because someone needs to protect you from the lies you've been told. The screen showed the hegemony fleet getting closer. Dark ships with evil intentions. Get ready, Tejo said. The real war is about to begin. And this time, humanity won't be defenseless. Commander Jae-sung looked at his people, ordinary colonists who had been tricked into throwing away their greatest hope. Now that hope was returning, stronger than ever. All stations, prepare for battle, he announced. And pray that our children can forgive us for what we've done. On the screen, Tejo nodded. Forgiveness is easy, winning is harder. But we're going to do both. The cast-out children were coming home. And they were bringing a fight the hegemony would never forget. The first explosion rocked the colony ship New Eden. Red lights flashed everywhere as the hegemony fleet opened fire. The ship's shields sparked and flickered under the attack. Shields down to 60%, Nari shouted over the noise. We can't take much more of this. Commander Jae-sung gripped his chair as another blast hit the ship. Through the windows he could see the enemy vessels, massive black ships that looked like metal spiders. They moved with deadly purpose, surrounding New Eden like hunters around. Trapped prey, return fire. He ordered. The colony ship's old laser cannons shot back, but their beams barely scratched the enemy hulls. It was like throwing rocks at a mountain. Sir, we have 12 fighters launching. Reported a technician. Commander Jae-sung watched their small fighter ships leave the docking bay. They looked so tiny compared to the hegemony fleet. Within minutes, 3 of them were destroyed. The pilots never had a chance. This is hopeless, Dr. Beora said, standing beside him. We're not warriors. We're farmers and engineers and teachers. Commander Jae-sung nodded grimly. They had spent a century removing anyone with combat skills, anyone with enhanced reflexes, anyone who could have defended them. Now they were paying the price. Suddenly, So Young's voice filled the ship's communication system. People of New Eden, this is So Young. Do not be afraid. We are coming. Who is So Young? Asked Nari. One of the cast-out children, Dr. Bior, replied. She was thrown to the dragon when she was 7. On the main screen, new ships appeared from the purple clouds of Drakmor below. They were beautiful, made of living crystal that glowed with inner light. The ships moved like dancers, graceful and fast. This is Minho, came another voice. All colonists move away from the outer sections. Things are about to get interesting. The crystal ships rose from the planet like shooting stars. There were dozens of them, each one unique. Some looked like birds with spread wings. Others looked like flowing water frozen in time. All of them pulsed with power. In the lead ship, Tejo sat in a chair that seemed to be made of living metal. His hands touched the controls, and the ship responded like it was part of his body. The blue lines under his skin glowed brighter as he connected with the vessel's systems. Woojin, what do you see? He asked. Woojin's white eyes stared into the future. 3 enemy ships will target the colony's engine room in 30 seconds. So Young's ship should intercept them from the left. I'm on it, So Young replied. Her ship, shaped like a silver tear, moved with impossible speed. She could feel the thoughts of the enemy pilots, predicting their moves before they made them. Minho's ship look like a crystal arrow. He flew straight at the largest hegemony vessel, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to dodge every shot. Remember, he said into his communicator, we protect the people who cast us out, no matter what they did to us. The battle was like nothing the colonists had ever seen. The cast-out children fought with abilities beyond human limits. Minho moved his ship faster than physics should allow. So Young knew exactly where the enemy would strike next. Wu Jing guided the others by seeing multiple futures at once, but it was Taeho who surprised everyone the most. Nari, his voice came through the ship's speakers. I'm connecting to New Eden's computer systems. Don't be afraid. How are you? Doing that? Nari asked. You're not even on the ship. I don't need to be, Taeho said. The ship and I are talking to each other. Suddenly, New Eden began to change. Systems that had been offline for decades came to life. The ship's old weapons, powered up stronger than ever. The shields became a shimmering barrier that deflected the enemy fire. What's happening? Commander Jae-sung asked. Your ship was built with hidden abilities, Taeho explained as he fought. The same people who gave you the false genetic protocols also locked away your ship's true power. They wanted you weak and helpless. The colony ship's hull began to glow. New weapons emerged from hidden compartments. The old laser cannons transformed into something much more deadly. This is impossible, Dr. Bill-ra whispered. Our ship was never designed for war. It wasn't designed by humans, Taeho said. It was designed by the same ancient race that created the dragon. They built it to protect you, but the hegemony hid its true nature. As Taeho spoke, he guided his crystal ship through the enemy formation. His vessel's weapons were not lasers or missiles. They were beams of pure energy that could cut through anything. Each shot was perfectly aimed, disabling enemy ships without killing their crews. Why aren't you destroying them? Commander Jae-sung asked. Because, Taeho replied, the dragon taught us that strength comes from protecting life, not taking it. The battle turned quickly. The hegemony had expected to fight helpless colonists and an old, weak ship. Instead, they faced gifted warriors and a vessel that was far more advanced than their own. So Young's ship danced between enemy fire, her telepathic abilities letting her read the pilot's intentions. Minho struck like lightning, his reflexes allowing him to be everywhere at once. Wu Jin coordinated the attack by seeing the best possible outcomes, but the most amazing sight was Taeho working with New Eden itself. The colony ship moved like a living thing, its weapons firing in perfect harmony with the crystal ships. For the first time in a century, the vessel was showing its true power. Hegemony fleet, Taeho broadcast to the enemy ships, you are defeated. Leave the system now or face the consequences. The response came from the largest enemy vessel. Impossible. Humans are weak. You cannot have this power. We're not just humans anymore, Taeho said. We're what humans become when they're allowed to grow. The enemy commander's voice was filled with rage. You are genetic freaks, monsters. You should have been destroyed. We were supposed to be, So Young replied. But someone saved us. Someone taught us. Someone showed us that our differences make us strong. The hegemony ships began to retreat, their black hulls disappearing into the darkness of space. But Taeho knew they would return with more ships, more weapons, more hatred. New Eden, he said to the colony ship, we need to talk. All of us face to face. Commander Jae-sung looked around the bridge. His people were staring at the screens in wonder. The cast-out children had saved them all. Docking Bay 7 is open, he said. Come home. As the crystal ships approached the colony ship, Haijin and Dongwu stood by the windows. They were about to see their son again, the ugly baby they had been forced to give away, the baby who had grown up to save them. Oh! The doors of Docking Bay 7 opened with a soft hiss. Teho stepped out of his crystal ship, his feet touching the metal floor of New Eden for the first time in 15 years. The blue lines under his skin pulsed gently as he looked around the bay where he had once been cast out as a baby. Behind him came the others, Minho with his quick eyes, So Young with her floating hair, and Woojin with his white gaze that saw beyond the present. They wore simple clothes, but power radiated from them like heat from a fire. A crowd had gathered to see them. Commander Jae-sung stood at the front, looking older and more tired than Taeho remembered from the old videos. Dr. Beora clutched her medical tablet, her eyes wide with wonder and guilt, but it was the couple in the back that made Taeho's heart race. Haijin and Dongwoo stood together, tears streaming down their faces. They had aged, but he recognized them instantly, the parents who had held him for only a few hours before losing him forever. "Taeho," Haijin whispered, stepping forward. "My son, my baby." Taeho walked toward her slowly. "Hello, Mother." She reached out to touch his face, and he didn't pull away. Her fingers traced the blue lines under his skin. "You're so different, so beautiful. You called me ugly once," Taeho said gently. "Do you remember?" Haijin sobbed. "I never called you ugly. I thought you were perfect. It was them. It was the protocols, it was the lies." Commander Jae-sung stepped forward. "Taeho, we need to understand. How many of you are there? How many children did we lose?" So Young answered, her voice echoing strangely. "In these caves, 47 of us survived. But across the galaxy there are millions. Every world the hegemony touched, they did the same thing too. They made species throw away their best," Minho added. "Made them weak, made them easy to control." Dr. Beora held up her tablet. "I've been studying the protocols. They're not just random rules. They specifically target genes for enhanced abilities. Telepathy, precognition, technopathy, enhanced reflexes, everything you children can do." "Not children anymore," Woojin said with a small smile. "We're adults now, adults who remember being unwanted." The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Many of them had voted to cast out these young people when they were babies. "We're sorry," said an old woman from the crowd. "We didn't know. We thought we were protecting everyone." "You were protecting everyone," Taeho said. "Just not the way you thought? Every child you sent to the dragon became stronger. Every defective baby became a guardian." Commander Jae-sung looked confused. "I don't understand." "The dragon knew," So Young explained. "Valdris could see the future. He knew the hegemony would come. So he collected us, trained us, made us into what we needed to be. Where is this dragon now?" asked Nari. The crystal ships in the docking bay began to glow. Through their transparent hulls, they could see a massive shape moving, scales and starlight, ancient eyes and cosmic wisdom. "I am here," Valdris said, his voice filling the bay. "I have always been here." The crowd gasped as they realized the truth. The dragon wasn't just in the caves below. The dragon was in the ships, in the crystals, in the very air around them. "You're not just a dragon," Dr. Be'o said. "What are you?" "I am what remains of the last free civilization," Valdris replied. "My people fought the hegemony 1,000,000 years ago. We lost. But before we died, we created guardians like me. Beings whose job is to protect species with potential." "And humans have potential?" Commander Jae-sung asked. "Humans have the greatest potential of all," Valdris said. "That's why the hegemony fears you so much. That's why they work so hard to make you weak." Taeho walked to the center of the bay. "Show them," he said to the dragon. "Show them what we really are." The air shimmered, and suddenly everyone could see, not with their eyes, but with their minds. They saw the truth about human genetics, about the abilities locked away in every person on the ship. "Every human family line carries the genes for special abilities," Valdris explained. "The hegemony's protocols were designed to identify and remove these genes before they could activate." "But the genes are still there," So Young added, "hidden, waiting." Dr. Beora stared at her tablet as new information appeared. "According to this, everyone on the ship has dormant abilities." "Everyone? Even me?" asked Nari. "Especially you," Taeho said. "You're an engineer, but you've always been able to understand machines in ways others can't. That's not normal human intuition, that's technopathy. Nari looked at her hands in amazement. I can talk to machines? With training, Minho said. We all can teach you, all of us. Commander Jae-sung looked overwhelmed. You're saying our entire species has been living as shadows of what we could be? Yes, Valdris confirmed. The hegemony has been doing this for centuries. They find strong species, make them weak, then rule over them. But they made a mistake with humans. What mistake? Asked Dong-woo. They underestimated parental love, Taeho said, looking at his parents. They thought parents who cast out their children would forget them, but you didn't forget. You mourned. You remembered our names. Haijin nodded through her tears. We never stopped loving you, any of you. And that love, So Young said, that's what the hegemony can't understand. They think strength comes from genetic purity, but real strength comes from connection, from caring for each other. From protecting those who seem weak, Minho added. From choosing love over fear, Wu Jing concluded. The crowd began to murmur. With excitement. People were looking at their hands, their children, their neighbors with new eyes. So what happens now? Commander Jae-sung asked. Now we wake up humanity, Taeho said. Not just here but everywhere. We find the lost children on other worlds. We teach people to use their hidden abilities. We build an alliance of species the hegemony thought they had destroyed. And then, Dr. Bo-ra asked, then we show the galaxy. That diversity is strength, Valdris said. That evolution happens through cooperation, not domination. Though that love is more powerful than hate, So Young added. That the ugly and defective are actually the most beautiful of all, Taeho concluded. The crowd began to cheer. For the first time in a century, they felt hope, real hope. Will you teach us? Haijin asked her son. Taeho smiled and took her hand. We'll teach everyone. And this time, no child will be cast out. No one will be called defective. We'll all grow together. The awakening had begun. And it would change everything. 5 years had passed since the hegemony first attacked New Eden. The colony ship now looked very different. Crystal gardens grew in every hallway. The metal walls pulsed with gentle light. Children ran through the corridors, their eyes glowing. With abilities their parents were only beginning to understand. Taeho stood in the main observatory, watching dozens of ships arrive from across the galaxy. Each vessel carried refugees, beings from worlds the hegemony had conquered. Humans, yes, but also others. Blue-skinned people with extra arms. Creatures that looked like living rocks. Beings made of pure energy. The council is ready, So Young said, entering the room. Her hair still floated around her head, but now it sparkled with tiny stars. Representatives from 47 worlds have arrived, Taeho nodded. And the hegemony fleet? Still gathering, Minho replied, appearing beside them with his usual speed. Wu Jin says they'll attack in 3 days with everything they have. Good, Taeho said calmly. Let them come. They walked to the Great Hall, a massive room that had once been used for storage. Now it served as the heart of the growing alliance. Representatives from dozens of species sat in a great circle, their various forms creating a beautiful rainbow of diversity. At the center sat an old friend, Valdris, no longer hiding his true nature. The dragon appeared as he truly was, a being of living starlight, ancient beyond measure, wise beyond words. Friends, Valdris said, his voice reaching every mind in the room, we gather today to face the greatest threat our galaxy has ever known. But we do not face it as victims. We face it as family. A blue-skinned woman raised her hand. My people lost our children for 300 years. We thought they were dead. Now we know they live in the crystal caves of distant worlds, waiting for us to find them. My species was told our defective children were diseased, added a being that looked like Livingstone. But they were our telepaths, our healers, our bridge builders. Taeho stood up. The hegemony's greatest weapon was never their ships or their soldiers. It was the lie that we were better off without our differences. Commander Jae-sung, who now wore robes instead of a military uniform, spoke next. We humans learned this the hard way. We spent a century throwing away our greatest gifts because we believed purity made us strong. But diversity makes us stronger, said Nari. She had learned to speak with machines, and her engineering skills had grown beyond anything she thought possible. Every species, every individual, brings something unique to the whole. Dr. Berar, who had become the Alliance's head of genetic research, shared her findings. We've discovered that the hegemony themselves used to be diverse, but they chose purity over variety. They removed their own defects until only one type remained. That's why they're so afraid of us. We remind them of what they lost. They became weak by becoming uniform, Valdres added. They think in the same way, fight in the same way, react in the same way, but we are unpredictable. We are chaos. We are life itself, a young voice spoke from the back. What about the children? Everyone turned to see a little girl with glowing eyes, one of the new generation born after the awakening. What about the children the hegemony is still stealing? Taeho smiled at her. That's why we fight, little one. So no more children will be taken from their families. Ooh, Jin stepped forward, his white eyes seeing far into the future. I have seen the battle to come. The hegemony brings 10,000 ships. They think numbers will defeat us. Will they? Asked someone. No, Wu Jin said simply. Because we're not fighting for conquest. We're fighting for love. The next 3 days passed quickly. The Alliance fleet grew as more ships arrived, not just the crystal vessels of the cast-out children, but new ships built by the awakened colonists. Ships that combined human creativity with alien wisdom, technology with organic growth. When the hegemony arrived, they came as a dark cloud that blocked out the stars. 10,000 black ships, all identical, all filled with identical soldiers following identical orders. But waiting for them was something they had never seen before. The Alliance fleet was a celebration of chaos. Every ship was different. Some looked like flowers made of metal. Others resembled swimming fish or flying birds. The human vessels pulsed with living crystal. The alien ships sang with energy. This is Emperor Zardek of the hegemony, came the transmission. Surrender your defective specimens and submit to purification. Taeho replied from his flagship, a beautiful vessel that seemed to be part machine, part dragon, part human soul. This is Taeho of the Alliance. We don't surrender our children anymore. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The hegemony fought with precision, their identical ships moving in perfect formation. But the Alliance fought with heart. So Young coordinated the fleet through telepathy, allowing perfect communication without the enemy intercepting orders. Minho's people struck faster than light itself. Wujing guided strategy by seeing the best possible futures. And Taeho connected every ship, every mind, every heart into one great symphony of purpose. But the most amazing thing was what happened to the hegemony soldiers themselves. As the battle raged, some of the black ships began to change. Their hulls shifted color, their weapons stopped firing. Over the communication channels came confused voices. I remember. I had a sister once. She was different. What happened to her? They're remembering, Valdres said with wonder. The Alliance's diversity is awakening their suppressed memories. More and more hegemony ships defected, their crews suddenly remembering the family members they had lost, the children they had given up, the parts of themselves they had sacrificed for purity. Emperor Zardek's voice cracked over the radio. This is impossible. Unity is strength, purity is power. No, Taeho said gently. Love is power. And love includes everyone. Even you. In the end, the hegemony didn't fall to weapons. They fell to remembrance. They fell to the realization that they had become monsters by trying to become perfect. Years later, Taeho stood in the same crystal caves where Valdres had raised him. But now the caves were filled with children again, not cast-out children, but visiting children. Human and alien children learning together, playing together, growing together. Do you regret it? asked Haijin, now an old woman but still his mother. Being cast out, being called ugly? Teho picked up a small child who had been tugging at his robes, a little boy with green skin and 4 arms who giggled with delight. No, he said, watching the child's eyes sparkle with wonder. Being cast out taught me the most important lesson of all. What's that? That there's no such thing as defective. There's no such thing as ugly. There's only different. And different is beautiful. Valdris, still in his dragon form but smaller now, more gentle, coiled around them both. The ugly human baby saved the galaxy, he said with amusement. No, Teho corrected, looking at all the children around them, human, alien, and everything in between. The ugly human baby learned that nobody is ugly. Everybody is perfect exactly as they are. And in the crystal caves of Drakmor, where cast-out children had once hidden in shame, a new generation learned the most important truth of all, that diversity is not weakness, but the greatest strength in the universe. The dawn of a new age had begun. And it was beautiful.